In this video, I'm going to work through a practice question from the SeeWhy exam prep tools. It's not an overly difficult question, but it does require the student to have a broad knowledge of a few different types of registered plans. Now, this video will be a little longer than our usual practice question take-up videos, but trust me, it's well worth the investment of your time. As always, I RTQF, which stands for read the question first. Knowing what I'm going to be asked helps me know what to focus on when reading the client scenario. It asks, to which account should the pension funds be transferred? Next, I read the scenario and take note of the following. Vikas resigned from his employer to start his own business. He is 50 years old. He has $100,000 vested in his previous employer's defined contribution pension plan. He also has a sizable emergency fund and believes his new business venture will be lucrative. And the question is asking, which type of registered plan would it be appropriate to transfer the pension funds into? Before we tackle this question, be forewarned that I'm going to assume you already have a certain minimum level of background knowledge. For example, you should know and understand the following 5 points about RRSPs like the back of your hand. Contributions to an RRSP reduce the contributor's taxable income, thereby saving them taxes. Any investment income earned within an RRSP is sheltered from immediate taxation. Any withdrawals from an RRSP are considered income and are subject to tax. RRSPs must be deregistered by December 31st of the year the plan holder turns 71. To continue deferring tax, a popular option is to transfer the funds into a registered retirement income fund. If you need a refresher on these points and your subscription includes the full suite of e-learning videos, be sure to check out the mini lessons on these plans where this and a whole lot more is covered. There are 2 nuggets of knowledge that will help you with this question. Nugget number 1, pension money is different than RRSP money. This is fundamental to understanding the difference between registered plans like RRSPs and their locked-in counterparts. Let's start with a regular RRSP. The contributor chooses to make RRSP contributions using their own money. Therefore, it is logical that the contributor can withdraw the money whenever they want, for whatever purpose they want, subject to the applicable tax. For example, if I'm in my 50s and I have been contributing to my RRSP for most of my adult life, if I had a moment of weakness and decided to withdraw all the money, go to Vegas, blow it all, and have a rip-roaring time, I can totally do that. Nobody can stop me. Take note that this is not true of pension money. I refer to pension money as sacred or protected money. Unlike a regular RRSP, an employer contributes to a pension plan on behalf of the employee, and it is solely earmarked for the employee's retirement. Access to these funds is very limited. The employee can't access it until normal retirement age, and even then, there will be restrictions on how much the employee can access each year. For example, a 45-year-old employee can't just decide to withdraw pension money to fund a much-needed vacation. Nugget number 2 is more than a nugget. It's a whole bunch of must-known facts. I'm going to complete the table you see on the screen now with some key differentiating points on the following types of plans. A regular RRSP, a registered retirement income fund, also known by the acronym RIF, a locked-in retirement account, also known as LIRA, a life income fund, or LIF for short. Note that some provinces use different names for the locked-in plans, and you will find more detail on this in your SeeWhy study guide. Let's start with a regular RRSP account. The plan holder can withdraw the funds whenever they like, no matter how young they are. CRA will not allow the funds to remain tax sheltered forever. Instead, the plan holder must deregister the RRSP by December 31st of the year they turn 71. At this point, there are several options, but a common one is to transfer the funds to a RIF. Next, let's discuss a RIF. Once a RIF is established, there will be a certain minimum amount that must be withdrawn each year. However, there is no maximum withdrawal limit. While there is no minimum age to establish a RIF, it is common convention to delay doing so for as long as possible until the money will be needed. For example, with an RRSP, the plan holder has the option to withdraw funds, but it is not required to do so. However, once a RIF is established, annual withdrawals must be made regardless of whether the plan holder requires the income or not. Recall from a minute or two ago that I referred to pension funds as sacred or protected money. Pension money cannot be transferred into a regular RRSP. If the employee is leaving the pension plan, the funds must be transferred into an account with similar restrictions as the pension plan itself. Next, let's fill out the right-hand side of the table. I'm even going to shade that side of the table in red as a visual reminder of the locked-in nature of these accounts. Again, LIRA stands for a locked-in retirement account. This type of account shares similarities with a regular RRSP, except it acknowledges that the funds came from pension money, and therefore has restrictions on when the funds can be accessed. For example, if a 50-year-old tried to make a withdrawal from this plan, they would be told the funds are locked in, and they are too young to make a withdrawal, except in very unique circumstances. Even when the pensioner is old enough to access the funds, they cannot be transferred into a regular RIF, because a RIF has no restrictions on how quickly the funds can be accessed. Instead, the funds would be transferred to a life income fund. The key point here is that these plans have a minimum annual withdrawal requirement, but also a maximum. All right, now that we have all that out of the way, let's finally circle back and tackle the question I referenced at the top of this video. This is pension money, or as I like to call it, sacred money, so it can't go into a regular RRSP or even a regular RIF. Right off the bat, we can eliminate two possible answers, and we already have a 50-50 shot at earning a mark. Vikas is 50 years old and doesn't need to, nor is he allowed to, access the pension funds at this age, so a LIF doesn't make sense. However, it could be transferred to a LIRA, which does not permit withdrawals. So let's go ahead and select that answer. And we're correct! Registered plans are governed by the Income Tax Act, so there's quite a bit to know. To help you, we've summarized these plans in the SeeWhy study guide using easy-to-understand language. We've created key concept e-learning video lessons on the topic, and of course, practice makes perfect. Keep working through those online practice questions and detailed answer keys.